Hey guys, Will Duke here from SoundOps, the interactive mastering studio. I wanted to make this quick video to give you sort of an introduction to multi-mastering. For those of you that aren't familiar with the way that we master here at SoundOps, I thought that it would be cool to see where we came up with the idea and kind of how that's played out with the development of the Studio Gateway and the launch of SoundOps.com. Because I won't be going into great detail about the difference between multi-mastering and traditional mastering, I recommend that you check out SoundOps.com/multi-mastering to learn a little bit more about the ins and outs of it. You can also always check out our blog at multimastering.com to find out other stuff about our studio and just kind of see what we're up to. I try to make sure that there's always something new on the blog. It's not just about mastering. Really anything that I think would be helpful for those of you that are independent recording artists or on small indie labels. And of course any of you that are just really particular about your mix and care a lot about how your music sounds and capturing that in the best possible way. Because that's where we were as musicians. About 10 years ago, my partner John and I, our first collaborating was done in a band. And back then, we were more concerned with our personal recording projects than developing a studio. But it was our desire for more input and better creativity that really got this ball rolling. We were geniuses. We said, hey, if we ever have a studio, we're going to remember what it was like being on the other side of the soundboard. We're going to take what we know as musicians and recording artists and apply that. Because there's got to be a better way to do this. We started to ask ourselves, is it possible for us to make the mastering process more like the recording process, where there's more back and forth and you have more input and just more options? So we wanted to multiply it. That's really what we set out to accomplish, to make it possible for a band like ours at the time to have their music mastered by more than one engineer in more than one environment and be able to pick the one we like the best. Of course, there were two main problems we had to solve as we set out to make multi-mastering a reality. The first was that we needed to make it possible for the different engineers to be able to work on a project at the same time and not have to wait for each one to get finished. That was our first challenge. And then our second major thing that we wanted to consider was the cost factor. How much it would cost as a studio to deliver multiple mastering, and also the end cost for you guys. How much would it cost you to have the advantage of more than one studio mastering your project? And the first thing that most service businesses have to decide is if they're going to lower their quality in order to compete on price. And we didn't want to do that. We felt like it was a challenge. There's got to be a way for us to offer multiple masters at the same time, at the same price, without sacrificing quality. Because there's plenty of guys out there that'll give you a $5 master, and I'm sure you're not surprised. There is a difference between $5 mastering and $500 mastering. So we had a pretty good idea of what we wanted our finished product to be. We knew what we wanted it to look like when it showed up at a client's house. The 3 CDs with all the notes and things from the engineers, a nice package, so that the band could take their time and decide which one represented them the best. As a studio, we knew what we wanted our multi-mastering product to look like. But looking back to what it was like as a band, we remembered what was more important to us wasn't the product. Our biggest disappointment in the studio was always about the service. And so, we're probably more well known for our Studio Gateway than for multi-mastering, but the Studio Gateway was really only designed in order to provide that service. And for those of you that aren't familiar, the Studio Gateway is just an online dashboard, an online interactive space within SoundOps.com that's secure and allows band members to interact with each other and with the engineers during the mastering process, so that they can stay involved and make sure that everything is turning out like they want it to. So for those of you that haven't been already to our website, you should check it out, SoundOps.com. We're very proud of it because it was designed from scratch with you in mind. Because that's what we wanted as recording artists. We wanted more access. We wanted more control. We wanted more interaction. We wanted more options. And we wanted more input. And we feel like that's what SoundOps.com does. I'm sure I'll have more videos up in the coming months for multi-mastering and the Studio Gateway in more detail. But I just thought it would be a good idea to share a little of the story behind SoundOps, and for those of you out there who are struggling communicating your creative ideas to the guys you're working with in the studio, I just wanted to encourage you that there are those of us out there in the business that understand what it's like to really care about how your stuff sounds and have a vision for it and want to be sure that you're getting the best quality you can for your money and for your time. And at SoundOps, that's what we're about. So until next time, take care and good luck.